Tease really happening. Twilight is coming back to theaters just in time for Halloween. And honestly, I didn't think I'd feel this emotional about it, but here we are. It's like someone cracked open a time capsule, and suddenly, I'm back in 2008, sitting in a dark theater, heart racing, waiting for Edward Cullen to step out of that silver Volvo and into cinematic history. This isn't just a movie re-release. It's like revisiting a first love. It's a nostalgia turned up to maximum volume. It's about watching the story that shaped a generation of teenage obsession this dreamy, dramatic universe filled with vampires, werewolves, and painfully awkward high school tension the way it was meant to be experienced. On the big screen with surround sound. In a room full of people who know exactly what say it out loud means so today. We're diving in. I want to talk about the scenes I need to feel again in theaters. The ones that sent goosebumps down our arms the first time, and the ones that'll hit even harder now older, wiser, a little less embarrassed to admit that Twilight still kind of owns me. Let's start from the beginning, and no, not just when Bella leaves sunny Phoenix for rainy, dreary Forks. I mean the moment everything starts. When we meet Edward, that biology lab scene, still one of the most bizarrely intense moments I've ever seen. She walks in, and the air literally changes. Edward is sitting there looking like he smelled death, and not in a sexy way. He's gripping the table, his jaw is locked, and it's deeply uncomfortable, but also incredibly hot. That tension, unreal. On the big screen, it's pure drama, and then, bam, the van scene. Bella's in the school parking lot, and suddenly this car is about to crush her. We all remember that clang when Edward flies in and just straight up blocks it with his hand like a vampire Superman in a vintage peacoat. That moment is iconic. It was the second we were all in, whether you admit it or not. The best part? None of this makes any sense. And that's okay, because Twilight wasn't about logic. It was about feeling, and we felt it. That slow burn teenage obsession. That aching kind of love that doesn't make sense and is honestly a little unhinged. That's why we keep coming back. Now picture this. It's Bella sleeping under her lavender comforter. The window creaks. Edward is watching her sleep, which, listen, is completely creepy now that we're adults. But at the time, that scene sent an entire generation spiraling. The quiet, the stillness, the fact that he climbs into her space just to look at her. It was weird, yes, but also magnetic. It made girls everywhere believe that real love was supposed to hurt a little, dangerous but poetic. And then we get to that scene in the forest. Do you remember how serious everything got? Pacing through gloomy moss-covered trees, confronting Edward after finally piecing it all together. You're fast, strong, your skin is pale white and ice cold. Say it. Vampire? There's a reason everyone can quote this scene from memory. And watching Edward walk into that blinding light, his skin sparkling like diamonds. I mean, we all gasped. We made fun of it afterward, but in the moment, it was magic. That whole scene was supposed to show us who he really is. Not just a pretty face, but a killer trying to hide his monster. When he says, "This is the skin of a killer," Bella, it's dramatic, yes, but now you realize how sad it really is. He hates what he is. He doesn't believe he deserves love. And Bella is the first person who looks at him like he's worth something. That hits different when you're older. Let's switch gears. You know what scene needs to be seen with booming surround sound and a crowd losing their minds? The baseball scene, thunder crackles. Muse's supermassive black hole starts playing. The Cullens suddenly look like the coolest, weirdest, most intimidating family of all time. Alice pitching like it's ballet, Emmett launching off trees. For literally no reason, Rosalie being flawlessly annoyed. It's epic. It's ridiculous. It's Twilight. Every frame of that baseball scene is begging to be rewatched on the big screen. But then, the energy shifts. James, Laurent, and Victoria show up, and suddenly, the fun stops. We remember these are vampires, dangerous ones. And just like that, Twilight reminds us that underneath the dreamy aesthetics, there's real threat, real risk. The stakes get life or death, fast. That leads us into one of the most heart-pounding climaxes in the whole series, the ballet studio scene. Bella, cornered by James, glass shattering, mirrors breaking, the sound of a piano piece twisting into. Unsettling horror. It's violent, it's frantic. And when Edward finally shows up, he's not the calm, composed vampire we've seen. He's wild, terrifying, protective in a way that feels barely in control, but what breaks you isn't the fight, it's after. Bella's been bitten, poisoned. She's dying. And Edward, the same boy who once flinched at her scent, is now holding her in his arms, shaking as he tries to suck the venom out before it's too late. That moment, its heartbreak, just brings us to New Moon. Oh boy, this movie hurt worse than we remembered. In theaters, the breakup scene deserves silence. Just Edward staring into Bella's eyes, telling her he's leaving. You're not? Good for me. And then he's gone. The way the camera spins around Bella as months pass by her window. October, November, December, with that haunting song by Like Lee playing in the background. That might be one of the most accurate and raw depictions of heartbreak ever put in a teen film. You remember how it felt to be left behind, to feel like time was still moving. But you weren't? But then Jacob. Sunlight, rebuilding, shirtless warmth, and motor oil and motorcycles. Bella finds her smile again, sort of. And suddenly, everything feels alive again. The fandom was split. Edward's pain versus Jacob's protection. Immortal heartbreak versus grounded healing. It was messy. It was complicated. It was the human side of this saga, Top K. It's horror, it's love. It's everything Twilight ever tried to be in one unforgettable scene. Then we fade into Pram. Twinkling lights. A cursed cast on Bella's leg. Edward in a tux with a slightly tragic look in his eyes. When he whispers, "Is it not enough just to have a long and happy life with me?" Everyone melts. But here's the thing. Bella knows what she wants. Immortality. Eclipse brought the heat in a way the first two films didn't. And one of the scenes fans are absolutely dying to see again in the theater is the training montage. Yes. The vampire battle boot camp in the clearing. Watching Jasper teach strategy. While Emmett laughs in the background, it's the supernatural version of football practice. Alice flipping through the air like she's in Cirque du Soleil. Rosalie standing off to the side, looking bored and flawless. It's familiar, comforting, but also tense, because we know what's coming. Victoria is back. And this time, she's building an army. The newborn vampires, it's genuinely creepy. The idea that she's turning so many new, bloodthirsty vamps just to take down Bella and the Cullens? Terrifying. And in the theater, seeing them rise up from the shadows of Seattle, smashing through docks, climbing out of the water like monsters. That's horror movie gold, which brings us to one of the most layered, high-emotion scenes in the whole saga. The tent.r. Yes, the tent scene. AKA, the war of icy skin versus werewolf warmth. A snowstorm hits right before the battle. Bella is freezing. Jacob, shirtless and smug as ever, climbs into the tent next to her, while Edward, gritting his teeth in emotional agony, has to watch. These two supernatural beings, polar opposites in every way except one, love the same girl. And for once, they're forced to talk. "I'm hotter than you," Jacob says with a smirk. Theater audiences will lose it when that line comes through in full Dolby surround. But then it gets real. Edward admits he's jealous that Bella can have a normal life with. Jacob, they talk about death, duty, regret. It isn't funny anymore. It's deeply into Mutuev. All heard about love triangles, but this one hurt because it was honest. Edward represents sacrifice. Jacob represents ease. But Bella, she belongs to no one, except in the next scene. She chooses, he kisses Jacob, hard, and Edward knows the way he looks at her after. Calm, bittersweet, accepting, on the big screen. That quiet heartbreak is crushing. But then, the fight in Eclipse remains one of the saga's best choreographed action scenes. The Cullens versus the newborns. Snow flying everywhere. Ripping limbs, snarls. And then Edward versus Victoria. It's violent. Fast, devastating. The theater sounds explode with each crunch, each scream, each piano chord as Bella slices her own arm to distract Victoria. It's intense but beautiful, in that weirdly poetic Twilight way. And finally, silence. The battle ends. But Bella's journey is far from over. Breaking Dawn begins. With a wedding, the most anticipated fictional wedding since probably royal ceremonies themselves. That entire sequence, from Bella walking through a bed of white petals to Edward looking like a vampire groom out of a dream, it's just perfection. The soft music, Charlie's proud but awkward walk down the aisle, Bella's dress, all classic lace sleeves and timeless mystery. The way Edward whispers you're breathtaking in that achingly still moment. It's the calm before the storm, and we remember. Thinking maybe this story could end happily. They dance under twinkle lights. Toasts are made. Jacob returns briefly, but this is Twilight. We know what's coming isn't romantic, it's shocking, because what happens next may be the most horrifying, controversial moment in this entire series. The pregnancy. The audience literally gasped in 2011, and rewatching this on theater screens. Again, it'll hit even harder. Bella is pregnant with a half-vampire baby that's literally killing her from the inside. Her spine snaps. Her face grows hollow. She looks like she's wasting away. And yet, she wants to keep the baby. She chooses it. It's jarring, emotional, uncomfortable. And the way Edward breaks the panic, the desperation, it feels like real helplessness. Then comes the birth scene. Blood, screams, chaos, Edward performing a vampire C-section with his teeth. Yeah, we were not okay. And then silence. Bella is dead. The monitor flatlines. Edward's cries. Jacob breaking down in the background, but her hand twitches. Her spine realigns. Her body heals. And her eyes, open, red dot, Bella Swan, is reborn. Everything changes in Breaking Dawn. Part 2. Suddenly, Bella is the strongest one in the room. She's not clumsy anymore. She's powerful. Her first hunt, iconic. Jumping off cliffs, chasing mountain lions, and laughing like she's finally free. Watching this with an audience in a theater will be electric. But what we're really here for, the fake-out fight. You remember it. Everyone does. The Volturi come, convinced that Renesmee, Bella, and Edward's daughter is a threat. And for what feels like an hour, people just stare, exchange vague warnings, and walk in dramatic slow motion. And then chaos. Aro lunges. Carlisle is killed. Heads start flying. Jasper, Seth, Leah, Alice, everyone we love, dead. And for 10 straight minutes, people in theaters screamed in shock, thinking the franchise had gone full Game of Thrones. But then we snapped back. It wasn't real. It was a vision Alice showed Aro, a warning, a what-if. None of it happened. Everyone walks away. Still. That 10-minute sequence remains one of the most debated, unforgettable moments in franchise history. You don't forget seeing a beloved character get their head ripped off on the big screen, and that twist ending only works in a theater. The energy, the gasps, the adrenaline,